Welcome back, viewers. We were talking to Agaji about giving him the opportunity to explain to us that if this was 15th August 1947 and he was responsible for establishing the country's life pattern in lines with the ideology of the country, where would he start? So land reforms are one part, and maybe we can ask him that since there was no parallel model in the world, we couldn't do that, sir.
Judicial reforms. In judicial reforms, you had to get rid of the laws which were engineered and placed in effect by the Britishers or by the British Raj, because they were meant to colonize you.
So fine, but in the absence of any constitution, in the absence of any other document of governing laws, we accepted that 1935 Viceregal Act till we had our own constitution.
Yes, but I mean, you see, the constitution is always an umbrella over and above the statutes or the number of acts on which everyday life of a society is addressed. Now that had to be changed. You put up institutions like the Ideological Council of Pakistan, you put up other religious institutions, but did they do any judicial activism? Did they do any research?
They just told you, if you want to get married again, you don't need to ask your first wife.
Well, I mean, these are absolutely personal issues. They do not relate to the state or the state
or the governance
or the management of state.
True.
So we have ended up with a personality-based dragnet which gets tightened every year, which ruins, cripples, weakens your society and the strength of the society every year. And it is going to eventually deliver us in doom.
Sir, one brief question before we go on to the other subjects you touched. Role of these religious parties, they did nothing to implement. They have only been raising slogans that they want to implement Sharia, but practically they haven't done anything on that.
You see, that is why I lean on the ideology so much, is because Islam does not recognize the clergy. There is no clergy in Islam.
Why don't our people understand that, sir?
The people do not understand that because they lack education. They lack research. You see, if you block research in any society, the evolutionary process becomes arrested. So you don't progress, you regress. Civilization, human civilization gets arrested. So we are regressing or we are stagnating. We are not moving forward. So it becomes again a question of not only being beggars economically, but followers socially of somebody who looks way different to us. You know, and that is abhorrible. If you take the example of the First World, there are three stages for a nation's development. Number one, your architectural plans. Take Germany, take Japan, take the US. They have architectural plans in which they have highlighted certain...
Now you again jumped one of my questions, sir. Does it mean that we hear this slogan so frequently, oftenly, repeatedly in our media, that those countries, the first world countries, have kept religion out of their national dealing within inter and intra. So religion has nothing to do. Whereas when we talk of religion and when we don't have a practical roadmap, we are actually ending up nowhere.
This is an interesting debate. You see, religion, if you look upon the religion as is manifest in Pakistan in the form of Islam or the variety of Islams, then we are talking of a madhouse. Here we are talking of an ideology based on Islam, which is in effect based upon
social justice, yes.
Based upon, yes, I mean social justice based upon a certain template which needs to be implemented. Call it religion, don't call it religion. I mean, to give you one example, one basic example. The Western societies are all based on a factor of iniquity. It is not even-handed. There is a small group which rules which profits, the rest are laborers. In Islam, that is not permissible. That is why monarchy is not permissible in Islam. So, the sooner we realize this, the better off we'll be.
But our so-called better Muslim countries are all being ruled by monarchs.
So we are in contravention of the dictum
basic
of Allah.
spirit of this. Sir, now coming back to the other aspects of the ideology, how would you have run your economy when the whole world is banking on this word riba, sood, or exploitation, or interest? And how would you run your banks without? Again, I will say that in the absence of any such model that should have been provided by countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, or so many other major leading countries, where the ideology at least is discussed more than, say, a country like ours.
The developed world, when we talk about them, there are 3 stages of development: architectural planning, branding, marketing. We have not done any of these 3 stages to begin with. So who's going to bell the cat is not a question at all. The people will emerge. This is why this platform, the live rostrum, come out, speak your mind. And from this will emerge your leadership. Insofar as the monetary regime is concerned, you see, economics is a game. They're telling us, without taking names, that my printed paper is 100 times yours, whether I have a better picture on it or not, but it is 100 times better, stronger. All criterias which are based on justice and equity have been denied. That is the inequity in the establishment of the United Nations. That is the inequity in the establishment of the management of money with a clearinghouse in Switzerland. And that is the inequity in your ability to do research. I can do nuclear research, you cannot. You cannot trade in your currency, you have to trade in my currency. This is hogwash. To use their term, it is hogwash. It is only nations that have asserted themselves. And I think a very good example is Japan. A very good example is Germany. A very good example is Israel, although it's a military outpost for the white man's club in the Middle East. But it's not a country. They managed to assert themselves because the one thing they did not do was beg. When you stop begging, you start evolving.
And you become more independent, simple as that.
And your natural resources come to your aid, come to the aid of the human resource, which gives you an identity, which makes you sell your brand. And if your model is good enough, which of course is subject to evolution all the time, you can market it anywhere you want to. But unfortunately, from 1947 to date, whether it is, and a very abusive term which you use called stakeholder, whether it's the army as a stakeholder or the bureaucracy as a stakeholder or a politician as a stakeholder, these are not stakeholders. They're just servants of the nation. The population of this country are stakeholders in Pakistan, period. Nothing else. And they need to be empowered. They cannot be empowered by beggars. It has to be understood by the people. And I think the day they understand that, the ruling elite will have to review the method of governance.
A very interesting point. It's given me another set of questions that I'm going to pose to Aghaji after we come back from a short break, sir. And we will continue from here. Please stay with us.